No, if anything, they'll pay less.
Hey Matt, how's it going?
Hi Kev.
All right.
So we're going to continue from the conversation we had with Robin last week.
Yeah.
About
that you had.
Well, yeah. Sorry, I had it with Robin. Yeah. So basically, we're asking the question: what should you put your music on Spotify? And
which we get asked a lot, don't we? A lot of people sort of like, oh, why are you on there? And you don't get paid any money and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and so just to sort of go from sort of our point of view and sort of bring you in as well. Robin's done really well with it. So 30% of the streams he gets on Spotify are algorithmic, i.e., it's where Spotify shows his music to somebody else via radio or Discover Weekly or one of the algorithmic playlists on Spotify.
That's what it just. That's the if you like this, you'll like exactly, this kind of thing.
Spotify radio as well. So I think that's why I think you need to look at Spotify as top of the funnel, as they say in marketing. I.e., people go to Spotify, they hear your music there, and hopefully, the way we look at it, they'll eventually become a core fan. Coming to gigs,
right,
buying merch, and just becoming part of the community around the band. And I think it's kind of short-sighted to look at Spotify as I think in the early days of my solo stuff, I think I did quite well out of people downloading music for free. And, I think that was a really useful, thing for me early on. I collected a lot of email addresses. And this one, with Spotify, you can advertise your gigs on there and you can allow people to follow you and engage with you, and they can go to Instagram and find out more about you. And I think I think the battle for bands, I think as me and Robin said previously, is that this obscurity is the problem, not
massively
or streaming. It's just getting people to listen to you.
Yeah.
And to get to 1,000 streams a month on Spotify, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, if you've got 20,000, 10 to 20,000, you're in the game. You could probably tour. You can probably do lots of things, from Spotify that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise. So what do you think, Kev?
Well, yeah, because you've educated me a lot on this over the time. Obviously I'd say that we're I don't know, maybe we're a little different from a lot of other bands in the way we run things and our kind of our perception of things. And I think some of this comes from actually like the fact that we were kind of, we started doing bands back in the 90s when we were literally faxing people to tell them about gigs.
We used to play we used to do those gigs where you used to go down to the Bull and Gate or and then you bring a coach load of your mates to a pub in Leicester.
Yeah.
And, all that sort of stuff. And then do you remember when we put the first Fierce and Dead EP online and people were downloading it?
Yeah.
And that's just sort of 11 years ago. And it was just like, oh, wow. So you just put it online and people like it.
It blew our minds, didn't it?
Yeah, it was amazing, wasn't it? And people sort of instantly sort of went for it. So it makes you realise that.
It does, yeah. But what I was going to say was it's just sort of, I think we've always been aware of, of what sort of band we are and the expectations we have. I mean, everybody wants to, play Wembley and all that kind of stuff. Don't even know if that's still a thing. Is that still a thing, playing Wembley? I don't know. But you get my point. But you've got to be realistic about it, And for me, I'm, getting the music in front of people. That's what it's all about. Yeah. That's literally what it's all about, And
in terms of touring, I want to be able to play bigger venues. I want to be able to play Coco, and I want to be able to play the Roundhouse. I want to be able to, I'm really ambitious about the size of venues we're going to play. I want us to play. So, I think and to do that, we need more people to hear the band, don't we?
Absolutely. And it's the same. It's kind of like, it's cognitive dissonance, isn't it? You can still think Spotify are underpaying people and also think it's a good thing. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I believe both those things. I'd love to get more money from Spotify. Of course, everybody would. However, the funnel down to like Bandcamp is where we sell, most of our music. And that's absolutely fantastic. We love Bandcamp. They're brilliant guys as well. But to get people to go to Bandcamp and actually physically pay money for some of your, you know, merch or music or whatever it is a really hard job. It's just as hard as getting people to turn up to a gig, you know. So, and then it just comes down to purely down to statistics. You know, if you play the music to 10 people and one person goes and buys something on Bandcamp, okay, great. But then if you scale those numbers up, you know, by getting more reach on like Spotify or something like that, you know, then you've got something going on. And then also as well, the thing that you've given me is that through things like Bandcamp and DistroKid and Spotify, the data we get tells us about like where we can play and things like that. And, you know, because I mean, we don't make any money out of this. Let's be very clear about that. We don't make any money out of this band at all. Everything we make goes back in. And for four of us to travel somewhere in the country as part of a tour, as a one-off or anything like that, even though it's not like, we're not talking thousands and thousands of pounds to do anything, but it costs us money. It costs us petrol money. It costs us food. It costs us all these things, and we've got to be really careful, because the easiest way, and this is what I'm so proud of us for doing, the fact that we've been together for 11 years, the easiest way for a band to split up is to go racing up and down the country, playing to very small crowds and spending lots of money. So
look, if I look at this here, and I can now see that, if the next day of touring, and it's actually would match up with my thoughts. So London, our top is a London, Sheffield, Bristol. The gig we do would probably be London, Sheffield, or Manchester, Bristol. And what's next? And then Birmingham's up there. Nothing in Scotland, which is interesting. Oh, Edinburgh's 3. Edinburgh's in there as well. Edinburgh and Cardiff. So I mean, it can show you where to tour, and it can show you where to find that audience. And like I say, for me, the most important thing is to keep growing it, to keep growing the audience. And
absolutely, man.
And then treating the audience respect. And also, you don't get, if it wasn't for the Bandcamp people, we wouldn't be able to pursue the top of funnel stuff. So you wouldn't be able to. People weren't buying stuff. We wouldn't be able to afford to make records anyway. So
yeah, exactly.
But the people who are buying a Bandcamp may have discovered through us giving away free music or doing free, streams on YouTube, streams on Spotify. So
yeah,
getting people down that that ladder of discovery, isn't it?
Yeah, and also as well, I mean, we spoke about this years ago. We spoke about this back in the MySpace time, the MySpace days. When you were like really active on that stuff on that platform. And I remember us talking about how there's this really, traditional kind of view of like an album release. Like here's the album release, let's do some gigs, there you go. But now it's like, we've got people now discovering like our first album. And for somebody online, because I know what it's like for me, if I find a new band online, that's when it's new to me.
Go back through the whole catalogue, don't you?
Exactly, yeah. And that for me is invaluable. I mean, yeah. Also, how much do you think? So I think this is maybe, I don't know the stats on it. I knew back in the Napster days, there was quite a lot of statistics on this about people, how many the conversion from people pirating music to buying music. How many people do you think, what do you think that conversion rate is of like people who go on Spotify and then actually go, I like this, I'm going to go and buy it?
I don't think anybody who's a vinyl person goes, I'm not buying this on vinyl because I can hear it on Spotify, because people who buy things on vinyl buy things on vinyl for different reasons.
I agree.
It's the same with CD. I think some people like CD as an object or vinyl as an object or the physical media, or they like to feel they've supported the band. So it's one of those two things. And I think most people buy physical media for a mixture of those two reasons, that they like to have a collection of physical media, or they feel like they're a patron of the arts and they want to support people. So I don't think anyone's thinking, I'm getting it on Spotify, I'm not going to buy that vinyl. I just don't think that's how it works. I mean, if I hear things on Spotify, I quite often buy a T-shirt of a band.
Yeah.
So, but how that works, the record companies, and how that works with conventional label deals, I mean, it's difficult. I see our folks. Sorry.
Do you think there's going to be a time when, because I know there's a lot of pressure at the minute and there's a lot of, government inquiries and all this kind of stuff. Do you think there's going to be a time when Spotify kind of, pay more money or a fairer model as, what a lot of people are pushing for? Or
if anything, they'll pay less because the podcasts are going on there now. and more people listen to podcasts. And if they're having to pay how much they're paying for, the Royal Family podcast from Joe Rogan, they're not going to pay out for music, because every time they pay for something like that, the more people listen to podcasts, the less they spend on publishing. So it's a big save for them. So the more Spotify transfer, and then Spotify is on about having video on there. So
really?
Yeah, if Spotify becomes a video and podcasting platform primarily, it will save them a ton of money in publishing and paying record companies and artists. So no, if anything, they'll pay less.
Wow, yeah, but like I say, I mean, we're not at a point where we're making a living out of this. Who knows? Maybe one day. But
for us, the focus is building the audience, because
totally.
And what I'm not focused on trying to make money. I mean, what I'm focused on is doing things where we do a show and we've got a projector and we've got a guy doing the sound who's our guy or our person, and our person doing the projections, and be able to give people a better experience at the gigs. Because I think if you treat people better and give them a quality product and treat them with respect, you've got more chance of them telling their friends and it growing.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's always been my philosophy: the better you treat people, and you interact with people with kindness and respect, and say thank you, and the more the quality of the show is better. When people come and see us, we're tight. We can get the projections in. The band plays really tight. The tunes are good. Everything has to be of a certain standard. I think that's kind of what we've been working towards: try and make better music, get better live shows. I mean, remember that Lexington show with the projections and that?
Yeah, it was amazing. It was great. Yeah.
And I want all our shows to be like that, unless they're like intimate, like warm-up rehearsal things.
No, I totally agree.
All our shows going forward to be like that. Okay, are we all down on Spotify, Kev?
I think so. It was a brief, but important. I'm sure we'll revisit this at some point. But yeah, cheers for that.
Thanks, Kev.
See you later.